Kunal, coming to you first, what's on your radar today as far as a high risk and a low risk idea goes? And just one question, Karunya was just saying the whole logistics pack looks fairly activated. But if you look at companies like TCI Express, which are also considered to be leaders, there's no movement. You're seeing a lot of movement in Snowman, but not for the leader, for example, or even Mahindra Logistics for that matter. So what's your read on that? And then, of course, your high risk, low risk for our viewers.
No, yes, in terms of market breadth, first, that the market tone is extremely bullish. We've seen how, yesterday's, day panned out, after almost a 300-point fall or 400-point fall on the intraday charts for Bank Nifty. We saw very good recovery in the second half yesterday. So that itself tells you that, the demand is still very strong and robust for the indices. Which is why I think the markets are getting a lot of traction. Now, coming to your question, on the logistics space, I think it's very, very fragmented. The markets have gone to such a kind of mode where not all stocks from each sector it tends to participate. It's very, very specific towards the kind of stocks and sectors which we see on a routine or a daily basis. So, for example, last week we had the pharma stocks doing pretty well. Even in the pharma pack, you just had 2 or 3 pharma names which did pretty well for themselves, but the other, rest of the pharma stocks did not participate that much. Yesterday, FMCG stocks had seen a good follow-through price action. Today, these stocks are lacking a bit of, I would say, momentum. So I think in that regard, it's very, very specific towards the kind of names which have moved up higher. Aegis Logistics, Snowman, many of these stocks, they've seen some spurts of short-term price uptake, but it's not resulted into a significant uptrend. Coming to the picks, 2 buy calls which I would want to recommend, and both categories from different nature of beta stocks. So the first one which I'm recommending is a bond DLF. Now, I think the stock is looking extremely strong and robust. More importantly, I think the entire real estate pack, like the Oberoi Realties, Godrej Properties, etc., are looking extremely strong. DLF was one of the few, stocks from the large cap space which did pretty well yesterday as well in the second half, and I think managed to close at the highest point of the day. So even though the stock is a bit muted today, I think DLF should pick up pace over the next couple of days. So it's a buy with 230 as a potential target, and stoppers could be kept at 210 because of the beta nature. I'll term this as a high risk trade. And the second would be buy Jubilant Food. Now again, a stock which has done pretty well for itself last 6 months, whether you look at it over the last so many years, it's been moving up quite in a trending fashion. And I think even on short-term charts, there are swing breakouts which are happening for Jubilant Food as well. The earlier resistance was 2,600. The stock has crossed those levels. So I think from a near-term view, you might see the stock heading towards 2,700, 2,750 zone. That's a potential target range, and stoppers could be kept at 2,560.
Vikas, coming to you for your long-term ideas, which are the stocks you've picked out for our viewers?
Good morning, Karunya. Good morning, Varun. As far as my long-term picks are concerned today, first I would like to make a comment on the markets. The markets are on a very strong footing, and there is no complaint at all as long as FII continue to buy as ferociously as they've been doing over the last few days, the last month or so. So I continue to remain bullish on the market. However, one needs to be cautious and one needs to remain with quality at this time. And my 2 picks from a long-term point of view, the first one would be a leading infrastructure company. The name of the stock is NCC, Nagarjuna Construction Company. A pretty solid company when you look at the fundamentals of the company. Within the infrastructure sector, it is one of the few companies where the balance sheet quality is pretty strong. They have pretty reasonable debt equity ratio, and the margins are also pretty strong, and they have a very strong order book of around 30,000 crores, and they keep getting orders at regular intervals, which would clearly have a pretty strong revenue visibility. The stock actually had corrected about a year back when there was a change in government in Andhra Pradesh and when some orders were cancelled. But it is learned that they've been able to resolve their issues with the Andhra Pradesh government, and there are new orders which they're getting from Andhra Pradesh also. So all in all, a pretty good stock, and our market's legendary investor, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala ji, who's already owning a substantial chunk in the company, had recently raised his stake in the company. So I remain bullish on the stock at the current levels of around 56, 57. One should be buying into the stock, and I think in the next 9 to 12 months, we could easily see levels of 90 rupees on the stock. The second stock which I would like to recommend today for your viewers would be a metal company by the name of Midhani. It's a PSU metal stock. It's into high margin specialized alloy steel and those kind of metals. So the company enjoys pretty stronger margin when you compare it with other metal stocks. And this company has done well and pretty solid fundamentals. Their margins, as I was talking about, are pretty robust. And then it's an absolutely debt-free company with high return ratios. So I remain bullish on Midhani at the current levels of around 201, and my targets are 300 rupees in a year. This company caters to mainly defense and aerospace, and with the kind of focus which the government has on the defense sector, and we are just about a month or a month and a half away from the union budget, I think this stock should be on the radar, and in the next 9 to 12 months, I'm pretty positive that we would certainly see levels of 300 rupees in the stock.